Why do I love the rural pastors? I have walked in their shoe. I was the rural pastor. And so when I look at them, I know where they are at because I've been there before. Yeah. When I received the call to ministry, I resigned from my government job. And what happened was, I became that guy. I was broke. I remember one time in church, the whole church gave 30 cents as offering, and 20 cents was mine.
Even in his early adult years, he knew hunger. He tells the story of walking into a shop and praying before he would that please that the lady behind the counter would offer him a cup of tea.
One time, I was so hungry and so broke. But that Sunday, God blessed a little lady and she came with a little bag of millet from her farm.
But nothing to cook it with, and having to sort of scavenge for cooking materials and for something to soften up the millet so he could have a meal.
And I took sugarless porridge for my meal. It was a desperate place to be in, but what could we do? My connection with OC came in through Africa International University. I had zero income. I really struggled that first year just trying to get school fees.
Well, he wanted to study, and the way that particular school in Nairobi administers OC funding is they don't give it to first-year students. They reserve it until people have showed their stick-to-itiveness.
I think Overseas Council came through for my tuition fees for 2 years without trying to add too much salt and pepper. Really, if OC had not come through, I'd have been kicked out of class.
The scholarship part of what Overseas Council does is critical because without it, almost nothing else can happen. And unless Overseas Council is able to sort of open the door, these people stand on the outside.
As I kept up with my studies and began to see the possibilities of how training, more people and training more pastors could be done, I suddenly realized that if I pastor one congregation, I impact that congregation, hopefully positively. But I realized that if you do get to sit with 40 or 50 pastors and they scatter to their individual congregations and churches, I have just multiplied my ministry. Only God can tell the impact.
The 800 million or more Christians that we have in Africa are being pastored by people who never had theological training.
And so we came up with a whole list of the things that a rural pastor does, and we asked ourselves, how can we help him do them better?
Anthony, over the years, has developed this almost ridiculously effective ministry to rural pastors.
And the next thing was we started off Africa Rural Trainers. And our vision is to build up the body of Christ in Africa. And we do that by teaching the rural pastor.
3/4 of the 800 million Christians we are talking about are pastored by those guys that Anthony is working with. We train guys like Anthony, and they go and train those other people. And those other people too go out there and train others.
I kid you not, I can do what I'm doing for 2 lifetimes, and I won't get everything done.
He gradually became the Anthony who now stands with those rural pastors. And at Overseas Council, we've had the gift of being able to be part of their lives.
We owe what we are doing to Overseas Council, and the Overseas Council story also needs to be told in terms of what impact they are making around the world.
And then you see Anthony as an individual, but how many has this guy influenced? Hundreds and hundreds. And yet, but the investment was just in one person.